Hi, it's Jessi. Today I'll be drinking Strange Beast brand hard kombucha because I wanted to try some hard kombucha, and this is the brand my grocery store had. I have ginger lemon hibiscus flavor if anybody cares. Alright, I'm here with the mid-year freakout tag. Specifically, I got the questions for mine from the Paper Fury blog, which I'll have linked down in the description. I don't know if this is the one everybody uses, but it's the one I'm gonna use. I've seen the questions before, but I haven't really plotted out my answers, so we'll see how this goes. I got my spreadsheet to help me out, but we'll see. So starting off with the tough ones. Best book I've read so far in 2022. Since question number 2 is best sequel, I'm gonna interpret this as best standalone. Names that pop into my mind. Winter's Orbit was really good. There's one, I can't think of the name of it right now. Light from Unconscious Stars. Let's go ahead and sort. I know star rating isn't always the best way to judge, but let me just look at my ratings, see how things are. If we go based on rating, the highest rated I guess non-sequel would be Psalm for the Wild Boat, which is the first in a series. If we're going straight standalone, A Ruthless Lady's Guide to Wizardry. Interesting. Also, let me look at the non-fiction that I haven't rated. I did just read Radium Girls, and it was very good. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole list. Those, what was that, 4 or 5 things I mentioned? Any of those are contenders for favorites. I don't know yet. It's pretty tight up there at the top. I've read some really good books this year. Question number 2, the best sequel you've read so far in 2022. The obvious answer for this is Jade Legacy. Like, nothing is even close to that. Not to say I haven't read some fantastic other stuff. The Veiled Throne, Fevered Star, all absolutely fantastic, but by far Jade Legacy. Jade Legacy got, like, on my rating scale, you know, which has, 5, 6 criteria that all are weighted differently, got like a 4.95 out of 5. It broke my scale practically. Like, I considered giving things 11s out of 10, so maybe it would have broken my scale. Jade Legacy. A new release you haven't read yet but want to. Speaking Bones by Ken Liu, like, literally just came out, and I need my hands on it immediately. Like, actually, it's a new month on Scribd. I should see if it's out, if it's there yet. I might start reading that before this video even comes out, honestly. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year is obviously easily None of the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. I'm not planning on rereading Gideon and Harrow, and the start books on top of this means I'm not planning on rereading these for that release. I think I'll probably wait and reread them before Electo, the 4th book, the final book. But None of the Ninth comes out in September, and I am so excited. So excited. I pre-ordered it. I'm getting a pin for the pre-order that I'm so excited for. I gotta be honest, I need Saga Press to up their game on the pre-release pre-order incentives, because they release some of, I think, my favorite books, and really have much reason to pre-order them if you're not gonna give me things. That's not true. Biggest disappointment of the year. I think I have 2 here for this. One that was like it came to mind immediately, and one that I saw on my spreadsheet that kind of is one. The big one recently, I haven't even talked about it in another video yet. I read Black Flamingo by Dean Atta, and I didn't like it. I think the big thing that disappointed me in it, like, it wasn't terrible. It was like a 2.75 3-star book, which is like slightly below average, but like generally the books I read are ones I really like because I know what I like and pick books that I like. So this was pretty disappointing. The main thing for me that was disappointing, though, was the prose. Like, I was led to believe, based on videos of other people, based on reviews I read, that the prose in this is gorgeous. And maybe, just maybe, I have been spoiled. Because the last book I read in verse via audiobook that I can think of, and maybe I'm forgetting something, but that I can think of, was Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. And that was beautifully written. And so this just wasn't that. And I was really disappointed in that. The other one is very close to the beginning of the year. I read The Route of Ice and Salt by Jose Luis Zarata and hated it. Like, absolutely hated it. I was really excited for this because I read Dracula last year. That wasn't earlier this year, was it? No, last year. And really liked it. And this fills in a gap in time where, like, he's traveling. And we know, like, captains kept logs. And so this was supposed to be, like, the captain's log during that journey. And it just wasn't. It was this captain's, like, horny dreams and lusting after men that were uninterested in him and talking about little boys. And it was just gross. I hated it. I really hated it. Number 6 would be the biggest surprise. I mean, I try not to, and this is not just like a cop-out, I try not to go into books with a lot of expectations. So it's hard for something. I read Stage Dreams this year. Wow, it's been a long year. So it's hard for something to super surprise me, especially positively, because like I said, most things I read, I go into them looking to enjoy them. I'm trying to enjoy them. I'm hoping to read something good. So I don't think it's very often I read something expecting not to love it and ending up loving it. Maybe People We Meet on Vacation. I just keep scrolling real quick, but I think that's going to be the one. And there's nothing else like standing out to me as I scroll. So People We Meet on Vacation, I read at the beginning of the year for a Reading Booktubers Faves. I did like a whole research video on what was like some of the most loved books of 2021 on BookTube. And People We Meet on Vacation was really up there. I also really wanted to give romance a chance this year. So like I went into it for those 2 reasons, but I really wasn't expecting to love it because I have very little experience at the beginning of the year. Now I have a little bit more. At the beginning of the year, I had very little experience with romance, and it didn't sound like the kind of romance I would like. And I ended up really loving it. Like, I liked it a lot. So, I mean, it's not my favorite romance I've read this year. I will do a nice video at the end, like ranking all the romance I read because I've been reading a lot. But I think that's probably one of the more surprising books I've read. I'm just doing a quick scroll, see if there's anything else that surprised me. No. Yeah, that's, I think, what I'm going to have to say is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Favorite new author, debut or new to you? Let me bring up Storygraph real quick. Because I'm thinking of saying Ken Liu, but I don't remember when I read. I should know when I read this. But I can't remember if I read. No, I read that last year. I can't say Ken Liu. Fonda Lee? Yeah, I guess for authors I read this year that I've read enough to, I guess, Fonda Lee. I've read 3 books from her, but they're all in the same series. But I loved, or at least really enjoyed, each of them. There's a bunch of authors, like, obviously, that were new debut authors that I loved a single book I read from them, but nobody else that I have, like, multiple books I loved from that were new to me this year. So I guess Fonda Lee for that one. Number 8 is newest fictional crush, and then number 9 is newest favorite character. These kind of are one and the same for me. I don't super crush on fictional characters. There's that element of like, well, if they were real. But they're generally the same people that are my favorite characters. It's sometimes. All right, maybe I have a little crush on Hilo from Greenbone. But he's a really well-written character. But some favorites and ones that, Zumi from the Dandelion Dynasty. I love her so much. Honestly, any of the characters from there, like any of the kids, I love them all. Kids. in their like 40s, but anyway. Hilo, Shay, and Andon. I love all of them. If I had to pick a favorite, probably Shay. Probably Shay. I think she has some interesting. I really like how the way she balances her morals and her wants. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop there before I list like a million characters. Unless like, book that made you cry. Well, if you read my watch my Greenbone Saga review, y'all know Jade Legacy made me cry a little bit, but seriously, the book that made me like bawl, like sob, would be Anger's a Gift by Marco Shiro. I don't understand what this man did to me, but I was like crying, and it's this combination of things. I mean, it's because of the really sad stuff that's happening in the book, and like the way it's so well written, the character's emotional impact, like emotional response to that makes me feel emotional. But the big thing that really, really got to me reading this book was how there is a new generation of kids growing up with this kind of representation just in the books they're reading. And obviously, like, I don't know that this is a super popular book that like everybody's reading, but like, that it exists and that it's easily accessible and that it gets to me. So when I see a book where like a kid is talking to his mom about going over to this guy's house for the first time that he's interested in, and she knows he's interested in it, in the very casual way she treats it the same way we've been seeing heterosexual couples be represented in the media for years, where she's like, well, make sure his mom's gonna be there and yada yada. It gets to me, and I get very emotional about that. Like, very emotional about it, especially when like it goes beyond this. Like when one of my kids comes up and tells me that she watched Heartstopper on TV and really, really loved it, or when one of the kids picks up one of the books in our school library and it's like, I know there's queer characters in that book and I'm so excited that you get to it makes me emotional. And so that's part of it. It was like, it was what was happening in the book, but it's also what that book represented, and it made me sob, absolutely sob. Anyway, a book that made me happy, I mean, I could add that to it. It's very similar things. Made me happy in a very similar way. Most of the books I read make me happy in one way or another. I enjoy reading them. I enjoy seeing characters I like triumph. If we want to talk about just like a bubbly, fun happiness, maybe I'm just looking what happens to be up on my spreadsheet right now. Winter's Orbit, I laughed at. I thought was the cutest thing ever. Ruthless Lady's Guide to Wizardry got me all the happy, bubbly feelings. These are mostly going to be like, I guess, things that are romance-centered, because I guess that's what seems more lighthearted, even though both of those have really heavy themes. The Romantic Agenda. Oh my god, The Romantic Agenda. That book made me so happy, because it's a romance, but about an ace character, and like the way she gets to be so unapologetically ace in that book, but also she's so many things that people don't think ace people are. And like her best friend's also ace, and he's super into sex and things, which is like not the typical ace representation we get. And she's like happy and emotional and bubbly, which is also something you don't see ace people in media get represented as. And it was just that, and then the way she talks about it and the time she explains it, and like, it made me really, really happy. I'm sorry if I keep hitting my necklace. I'm emoting a lot. The most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. I think the only book I've gotten this year would be, I'm trying to remember when these came in. I think the only one I bought this year is Fevered Star. I borrowed Redwall from my brother, and that was gorgeous. I'll see if I can find a picture of the cover for the version that I borrowed from my brother, if that counts. That was beautiful. But I mean, does it count if I'm borrowing it from the library? But I think that's it that I got this year. Bought Malice over Christmas break. The Year Before Christmas. My family doesn't buy me books for some reason, even though they know I want them. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't really have that many books I bought this year. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? So many. I mean, Nona to the Ninth for sure. Speaking Bones for sure. Like I've already talked about. Oh, I just remembered that I have so many books I need to read. Okay, so I have a couple vlogs I'm working on or planning that I have a couple books I'm gonna read for, but I just remembered that at the end of last year I had promised to read a bunch of books for Ritama's Discord server, so let me just casually look and see which one of those I still need to do. Okay, so I think the only one left for that, if I'm not mistaken, is The Emperor's Blades. I'm not sure who this is by, but it's available on Scribd. I think that's the only one I have to read for that. I have a bunch of romance recs. Those aren't required ones, but those were a bunch of romance recs that were recommended to me from the Straw Haired Chits Discord. And I have a Discord, or not a Discord. I had a vlog I filmed an intro from, and literally haven't read a single book from that list. So I don't know if that's gonna happen. I also was planning on doing another Wheel of Time, books with Wheel of Time titles video this year, so that would be a couple. I know there aren't any that have, let's see, we left off at Lord of Chaos. I have Crown of Swords, there isn't one, but I have a book on Scribd called Sword of the Crown that I think is close enough, giving you a little preview. And there's a couple different books called Winter's Heart. It just kind of depends on whether I want to go the romance route with that or not. So that's some of the stuff I have planned, but like, we'll see which ones. The only one of these that I really have to commit myself to is The Emperor's Blades by whoever it's by, because I don't have that written down. But really, that finishes that? Well, that's good. And I guess I did buy these books this year. So, I mean, these editions of the Tawny Man trilogy are gorgeous. If I had to pick a favorite, I think I'd probably go with this one that has a pheasant on it. It's probably my favorite. So I guess I did buy these this year. Sorry. And then 14 favorite book community member. I mean, I love Rid, but she doesn't upload much anymore, not to call her out like that. There's a couple people I started watching more on YouTube. Sally Thames is one. I think she's really funny. Really witty. She reminds me of one of my closest friends. Let's see, Patrick Leo. I like his stuff. I think he's a smaller booktuber. I think he's really interesting to watch. I guess we'll go with those ones for now. Mostly because I don't feel like scrolling through this entire list. Alright. This video was way longer than I expected it to be. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like below. I'll have the list of questions in the comments, or in the, I'll just put it in a pinned comment at the top if you're interested in answering any of these questions yourself. Always interested in that best books question, because if you love it, then I want to try it. And subscribe if you want to see more from me. See y'all. Bye.